So this is Kirk Garrison Forensics. This is going to be my first video I'm doing to help with my new forensic consulting company that I've launched. Um, Specifically, we're going to be focusing on firearms and toolmarks analysis, as well as crime scene reconstruction, like bloodstained pattern, trajectory shooting scenes, and then also just basic evidence collection. And then as part of this, I'm going to be attempting to do kind of weekly blog posts, videos, and to kind of educate the broad base on what forensic consulting can do for a lot of different people. Again, it's not just for law enforcement. It's not necessarily just for prosecutors, but sometimes even an outside perspective for prosecutors' offices and for law enforcement can be very beneficial. And I'll highlight some stories that really demonstrate that. But for the very first blog post, it's kind of interesting. It kind of shows that sometimes forensics gets misinterpreted. And I think some of it comes to a little bit of like almost overconfidence in the system and thinking that there's always an answer for every piece of evidence. And sometimes those answers just aren't there. So as an example, if we move on here, obviously this has kind of been in the news recently. If all these very sensational headlines of this whole case is up in the air now, needs to be thrown out because the bullet didn't match, right? The suspect's firearm that was recovered in the Charlie Kirk assassination did not match the bullet that was recovered from the victim. And again, like this whole thing makes no sense. ATF bullet analysis in Charlie Kirk murder finds no conclusive link to rifle. Okay, but what does that actually mean? How significant? Because again, I think some of this is overconfidence. You don't always find the link. Sometimes you get a piece of evidence and there's just not a lot of information that you can obtain from it. I go into kind of detail on why that is. But for example, a conclusion that is come to frequently in forensics, especially if you're talking about firearms and tool marks examination, especially with fired bullets, and even more especially when you're talking about high velocity rounds from a rifle. Inconclusive is essentially when you have these offensive information. There's some information present, so you can provide some information about the evidence. However, the amount of information that's present, it doesn't reach the level of you being able to make a conclusion, that this is for sure from this same source. This bullet at some point, touched this firearm. And then, there's also the other instance where sometimes especially again, a projectile that has hit something is just so destroying, kind of doing its job. A lot of bullets are designed to fragment and deform in order to really transfer as much force as possible into the target. But because of that design, sometimes it's so destroyed you can't get any information. And in that case, you're not going to do any kind of examination at all. There's going to be no information you can provide. And well, again, does that introduce some doubt? Yes. But is it completely exculpatory? Absolutely not. But so I do go into a little more detail. Again, I'm going to try to do these kind of blog posts relatively frequently, so you can read more about that at the website, which is garrisonforensics.org. And then also I do have a LinkedIn profile just under my name, Kirk Garrison, and I try to do all kinds of updates there. Mainly on this page, I do highlight a lot about 3D printed firearms. But please, if you're interested in getting a firearm tool mark examiner and crime scene investigators' point of view on all these headlines, what it actually means, again, go to garrisonforensics.org, read that blog post, and again, any comments, anything you want me to look at, you can throw it in the video, you can send me a message, you can even comment on this blog post, and I'll try to look at those things. But in the meantime, thanks for your time. Appreciate you guys listening, and hope you go check out the website.